unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the seatbelt fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
And please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It is Christopher Rausch. It is the Raw and Unscripted show. It is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, your place where I help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Thank you guys all for being here, whether you're live or on the replay, whether you're live on the video cast or listening to the podcast, wherever podcasts are sold. Thank you guys so much for coming back again for another week, for another content-rich episode that is surely going to have you thinking to yourself, holy shit, I can do it too. So just mark me on my words with that. When you get to the end of the show tonight, you're going to think, you know, I can do it too. If these guys can do it, if these guys can actually be raw and vulnerable and talk about their emotions and their feelings and talk about their down points and how it is that they redevelop their mindset to be working for them, you're going to be able to do that too. So fasten your seatbelts, make sure you have something to take notes with, and just a couple of little things before we get started. Thank you guys all for being here. We got Jacqueline Rose in the house, my Irish sister from another Misfits for Life. She says, keep up the good work. It's only good work. Come on now. It's got to be great work. Isn't it great work? I mean, isn't it like fucking bitching work? It's just not good work. Come on, really. Come on, give me some kudos. Give me some kudos. We got my sister, my beautiful sister from another mister. I saw your video today. I thought that was awesome that you braved through that. Debbie Bettendorf is here. She says, one of my besties right here. Thank you, darling. Mwah. I love you. I appreciate you. We got Glenda Wright in the house. I was just actually thinking about you, Glenda. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. It's been a minute. She says, hey, y'all. And Debbie again says, hey, my friend Christopher. So one of my besties right here. I'm not sure if that I'm your bestie, right? Am I your bestie? We trade makeup tips and talk about different types of underwear and undergarments. Isn't that a bestie? I have a lot of girlfriends, and they've told me a lot of things in my life, like girlfriends, not girlfriends. I've had a lot of girlfriends too, but don't tell my wife. No. I only have one girlfriend now, and she's my wife. I'm a good boy. So thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate you. We got a lot of stuff happening here in Raw and Unscripted land, and also in and just in life, just Raw and Unscripted and everything that's going on. As you guys know, I am almost complete with this beautiful manuscript. It's Just You and Me, Kid, a story of a mother and son survival on the streets of Southern California. I've got 170,000 words done. It probably might be as big. This is actually Dave Grohl's book, by the way. It probably will be as big as this or bigger, but I'm actually going to streamline down the words a little bit so it's more affordable, make it like a $20 book instead of a $75 book with all my stories in it. So what I'm going to be doing is doing a bestseller campaign. And part of that is going to be asking you guys to go to my website and fill out your name and your email so I can have you guys as part of this private select group so that when the book goes live, you guys are going to go buy it and help me make bestseller status. But not only that, I'm going to give you guys a ton of added bonuses. So when you guys do that for me and you show me that you've purchased that book on that day, I will give you a ton of bonuses. And so my web guy right now is actually updating the website so I can send you there. So just be prepared because that book is going to be coming out in probably the fall. Early fall, that's what I'm intending on. So I'm super excited about it. It's been a labor of love. It's been a labor of pain in my ass to go back and visit all the different years of physical abuse, psychological abuse, mental, I mean, everything, every type of abuse you can imagine, aside from sexual abuse, thank God, not that I'm aware of. And just be able to go back and revisit all those painful memories and really look back on my life with great satisfaction and great appreciation, because I'll tell you this, I'll share this with you before we get into our interview tonight. We have an amazing interview for you guys tonight, and ladies, you're going to have some little eye candy. So get prepared for that. You know, go get yourself a tissue or something like that, because we got a good looking dude coming up. So as I was, finishing up the book, I've written it, and now I've gone back and I reread it and made some slight edits. And on Friday, I was sitting out on my patio reading essentially what is the last chapter. So the last chapter is very poignant, and I won't give it away. But in there, I started like thinking about the music that my mom liked. And there was always this one song that I knew of, that I knew she loved, but I never really thought about it. And what I wanted to make sure of, or what I was thinking about was thinking about the idea of, let me figure out what this other song is, because music is such an integral part of our lives, right? And you think about the soundtrack of our lives. I grew up, one of the things I'm thankful for my mother doing is surrounding me with music for my entire life. I literally was vaccinated by a phonograph needle. And so there was this one song, and I wanted to put it in the book because there's certain segments of the book where I put music to whatever it is I'm going through. So it kind of takes you on a little time roll of the 70s music, the 80s music. And so in there, I captured like 4 or 5 of my mom's favorite songs. And there was this one song that I was trying to think about. And then also I remember, oh yeah, it was something like Long, Long Time. It was like Joni Mitchell or Joan Baez or something like that, the folk singers of the 70s. And so I just typed in Long, Long Time plus lyric. And sure enough, Linda Ronstadt came up. I started listening to the song. I'm like, yep, that's exactly the one. And the thing about it, guys, is that I remember my mom singing that song very specifically, very intentionally. She wasn't a very good singer, but she would be very, very meaningful and accentuate the words. And basically it's a song to somebody that, they love, but doesn't love them and doesn't want them in their life. And you're constantly longing for them. And the words in the song are really, really painful. And so when I was listening to this song, as I'm reading the final couple of chapters of my book, I start feeling a little emotional. So I'm like, if my mom thought this song was so important, let me go check out the lyrics of this song and really see what the story is about. Why was this song so important? And my mom was very much into lyrics. So I pulled up the lyrics and I get chills when I think about this. So hopefully I won't cry. Don't cry. So I put the song on, and it's a super sad song. And I start reading the lyrics, and all of a sudden something came over me. I was like, wow, my mom was such a hurt person. She constantly was hurt. She was constantly trying to cover up for that. And in that process, I tried to decide who that song was actually for. It's basically somebody wanting somebody. And I didn't think it was for my sister's father, who was, married to my mom before I came along. I have a different biological father. And I'm like, well, maybe it was my biological father, because I've seen notes in some of her personal items that suggest that maybe she had a crush on him. And he was a married man with a family of his own. And so I was thinking, as she was, found out she was pregnant with me, he was cheating on his wife with my mom. And I was thinking, well, maybe she decided, she was going to have an abortion or something like that, because she had told me she had abortions and miscarriages. I thought maybe she didn't have any abortion to use me as leverage to potentially get this guy away from his family. I mean, we've heard that before, unfortunately, some of those situations have happened. And so I was thinking, like, okay, maybe she didn't have the abortion to try to use me as leverage. And then maybe when she found out that he wasn't going to leave his wife, that's when she decided to place me for adoption, because originally she was going to place me for adoption. So as I'm reading the lyrics to the song, I'm crying my eyes out, and I'm just realizing, and I'm having so much sympathy and empathy and understanding for my mom, because it suddenly dawned on me that I wasn't wanted. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not like her and her husband were like, oh, let's have a baby and start a family. We're so excited. We'll dress the nursery. My mom was 26 years old. She already had a 7-year-old daughter. So she was pregnant at 17 from another guy. She was very promiscuous. And so I was thinking, wow, if I wasn't wanted and I was sitting here expecting this person to be a mother in my life, that's pretty crazy. I had false expectations. She did the best she could with what she had. Unfortunately, the experiences that I had helped me become the man I am today. And I'm very proud of that. So I just offer you guys that story, because sometimes when we're thinking too hard about something, it doesn't come to us. But sometimes when we kind of dig into the weeds about something about our parents or something about somebody that perhaps has wronged us, we can find a different perspective to see about them. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm always sharing shit with you guys. So I hope that helps. But there is a lot of amazing nuggets in this book. I'm super excited for you guys to have it. It's been, like I said, a labor of pain and labor, like trying to birth a basketball through my urethra, if you guys could put a visual on that. Anyways, don't picture my urethra. So we got Natalie in the house. What's up, Natalie? Thank you for being here. Debbie says here, I'm so excited about your book. Thank you. We got Valerie Smith, DTM. Oh, we got Distinguished Toastmaster in the house. She says, hi, Christopher. Great to be here. Thank you. Appreciate that. I was in Toastmasters for a while. Now I'm in Toasted Masters, which is a whole nother thing. I won't tell you about that. We got Jacqueline Rose. It's actually a speaking group. It's just called that. And then Glenda says here, I have a lot of flashback going on. I have a lot of flashback going, son. Well, thank you for that, Linda. I appreciate that. I hope everything's going well with everything. Oh, I'm having flashbacks with songs. There we go. And then we got Jeffrey John Wolf. Oh, hey, what's up, Jeff Wolf? I appreciate you. You have, if you're the same Jeff Wolf, you've changed it to Jeffrey John instead of Jeffrey Wolf. But I think that might be somebody who knows our guest. We got Sue Andrews in the house. Thank you for being here. So without any further ado, I met this gentleman through the Owl app. It's something I've talked about here on the show. I haven't talked about it too much recently, but basically it's an app where essentially if you're looking for an expert, you can actually call these experts who are online. It's almost like a telethon in a way. You can call an expert on real estate, you can call an expert on mindset coaching, you can call an expert on social media, you can call all these different experts. And for, $5-10 for 10 minutes, you could talk to them and ask them questions. And so a lot of us on the app have called each other and talked to each other. And this particular gentleman called me one day and we had just a fantastic conversation. We really vibed together. And I was like, man, you got to be on my show. I think we'd have a great time together. So please welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show, Mr. Shawn Dodd. What's going on, Shawn, brother? Thank you.
Brother. It's good to see you. Long time coming.
Yeah. How are you doing tonight?
I am awesome as always.
Awesome. I appreciate you for being here and withstanding my opening monologue there. I never know quite what I'm going to say, but I just let it flow from the heart and just excited to have you here and appreciate you. So my first question or first thing I want to show people is, and I normally don't do this, but I want to just take an opportunity to kind of share people your unique creativeness on TikTok. I want to give people just a little taste of Shawn Dodd. So bear with me for just a second, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to share my screen here so you guys are going to be able to see this. And let's see. So I just want to share a couple of Shawn's amazing videos here. Let's go with this one. Hopefully the video.
Yeah.
He's so creative. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. It's like magic. Watch. Uh-oh. Boom. Look at that. That beautiful smile, that shocking, beautiful grin. Let's see. Here's what's another one we got here. Oh, we got this one. I love this one.
That's my friend. Yeah. He got me to wear a kilt, so I had to do something funny.
Did you like the kilt?
Yeah, actually, I really did. I really did like the kilt.
My wife's family are from Scotland, so they were digging this. So yeah, I love that. You just do so many creative videos that are also, also you're just like bringing people together and bringing people in awareness. I won't show you that one. I love this one, contribute to your battle buddy who came to see you.
Yeah.
I mean, this was beautiful as well. Talk to me about that.
My son called him up for one of my birthdays a few years back and he just showed up and it was awesome. It was badass. This was just all raw footage, completely. I cursed quite a
bit. You're good on this show, that's for sure. So you had no idea?
Yeah, no clue. It was awesome, and since then we've actually gone on national television shows for this story. So this story made worldwide news and what have you, because we just haven't seen each other for so long, and we both had very similar issues where you've got those few people in the world that you feel like you can tell everything to, and that's Jesse.
Dude, that's amazing. I just want to encourage people to go follow you, Iron Ranger 023 on TikTok. I mean, there's so many other videos that you have done and they're so creative and I just have mad respect for you. So talk to us. So Iron Ranger, so where does that come from? What is that all about?
Yeah, when I was in the Army, I was a mechanized infantryman when I first went in, and that was with a Bradley fighting vehicle. So it's like tanks that roll in and then they drop off troops. So it's infantry, but with these smaller cannons with tanks. And then I worked really hard and busted my ass and went to Airborne Ranger School and then fought some battles in between. So I went to Iraq. I was one of very few people who could do mechanized and ground infantry. So it was very, to have that seasonality behind me. So my commander at the time in Iraq gave me the call sign on the radios, Iron Ranger, because he thought it was cool. And when I was leaving Iraq, the day I left Iraq, I was in the air, and most of my unit was 2 weeks behind me because I was getting out of the military. So they were still in Iraq for about 2 or 3 more weeks. And he was killed. My commander was killed while I was in air. So I landed in Germany, I found out, and then I escorted his body back from Germany all the way back to the States through hurricanes. Like, there's a whole huge story behind this, by the way. Got him back home safe, got him back to his family, did the funeral twice, did two different funerals, one with the military, then one with his family privately. And, it's a way to honor him. So Iron Ranger for me is an honor and tribute to him, because to me, it just was really impactful. That whole piece in my life was a huge stepping stone, because it was leaving the military and going into the regular world. And but at the same time, he was that final piece for me to kind of move on from.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, man. So how long were you in the military for? What branch?
7 years, yeah.
7 years? What in the Army?
Yeah, Army. I saw combat in Bosnia, Afghanistan, and then the initial push in Iraq in 2003, and got out in 2004.
Wow. So I've talked to a lot of returning veterans, and thank you for your service, by the way. I've talked to a lot of returning veterans. They've been on this show, on my other shows as well. One of the things that, is like a top of mind when the soldiers come back here is reacclimating into society after seeing so much stuff on the other lines. And I really got a good picture of that. I've had a lot of soldiers tell me about it, and I've had people who have had foundations tell me about it, like Will to Live, which is done by my friend Shanda Champlain. She honors all the veterans that have been killed by suicide after they come back to the States. Talk to us about that for yourself. When you reacclimated back here after active duty and seeing that frontline stuff, what was that like for you? And what was that, some of that mindset shift that you had to do in order to reacclimate?
Yeah, I was an HR nightmare. We're going to call it that way. I go into companies, and I'm used to, if I tell someone to do something, they better be doing it before I finish telling them to do it in the military, or people die, right? It's life or death,
right?
Little decisions. And you tell someone to go mop a floor and they're not mopping a floor quickly, you got to get on them. So I went into leadership and management because I loved it. That's just something I went into. And that was the hardest part, is reacclimating to just normal life and not making these crude, rude jokes every day. And, if there was something that could be sexualized, we did it, in the military. So I had to really be smart about how I did it and completely change everything. Between that and then obviously going through the emotions that you're not supposed to have, as a man,
right?
As a warrior, you're not supposed to have these emotions. It's against every fiber in your body in the military if you do that. So having to fight through those and realize that there was a point where I just realized when everything kind of came crashing down, I lost my job. I had, no friends. My family was doing their best, but they're cautiously optimistic, I guess. And that's when I realized I have to do something, and I'm not normal. It's not, it's so.
None of us are.
I had to really work on myself. So I went to PTSD counseling, aggression control counseling, and just poured myself into working on myself. And that really helped move the needle and bring me around to really just understand how to keep myself at bay. But I tell you, my most of my growth of all things would have probably come in the last just couple of years, because I've seen myself in a different way. I've been able to work through it and help others. So trained myself how to help others in the same situation. So now there's a lot of veterans who come back, and I get to help them out as much as I can. And it's just been a blessing for me to be able to do that. But there's so many more different facets of me, but that's definitely one I'm very proud of.
I would be proud of that as well. And I think that lends to the point that we're here on this human journey. And as we continue to age and grow and have experiences, it's incumbent upon us to sit there and look at things from a different angle. That's what I was talking about in the opening of the show, like thinking about my mother in that situation. To think that I wasn't wanted isn't a bad thing. It was like, wow, that changes my whole perspective about my entire life, about wanting this lady to show up as freaking Mrs. Cunningham from Happy Days. That wasn't going to happen. She didn't want me, but she decided to keep me. And thank God she did, because I got to have a lot of horrible experiences that made me a great person today.
Absolutely. I love that mindset. And you and I are very similar in that, where my father left us when I was 3, and I didn't meet him again until I was 22.
Oh, wow.
And now he's my best friend, right? And so it just goes to show you how the world can work. But because of him, when I was growing up, I just wanted to just strangle him. I mean, really, I dreamt about beating the hell out of my father. And when I met him, I realized he wasn't the man that I thought he was in my head, that made him to be. And it was a really great thing that we were able to connect, because he showed me the true person he was. And there's a lot of circumstances that I probably would have made the same choice if I was him at that moment in life. And so I'm grateful for all the hardships, just like you. We definitely share that growing up, because those hardships, if I wouldn't have gone through them, I wouldn't have been where I'm at now. And I wouldn't, through all uncomfort comes growth. Through all pain comes growth. And there's a lot of it here. So that's why I'm as strong as I am now. I'm able to help a lot of people in the process.
I love that, Shawn. I appreciate you. We've got some amazing people in the house. Thank you guys. You guys can ask us questions and engage with us at any particular time. Natalie says here, she goes, thank you, Shawn, for your service. Glenda says here also, my dad had a hard time with that. So yeah. And Sue Andrew, thank you for being here and sharing this experience with us. She says incredible. So thank you guys for being here. some of what you're talking about, Shawn, is really shifting our perspectives. And sometimes people are in that victim mindset. They think that life is happening to them. My sister is an excellent example. We have a different dad, same mom. And I was disconnected from her when I was 9 years old. She was 7 years older than I was. And so she said, sorry, baby brother, I can't take mom anymore. I have to leave and I'm going to go live with my dad. So from 9 until my mid 30s, I did not see my sister whatsoever. I grew up with my mom solely. My mom's husband left, my sister left. It was just me and my mom. And then suddenly we became homeless when I was 13 years old. And then I got to have that wonderful journey of being homeless on the streets with 18 cats and 4 dogs and a station wagon. But the funny point is I catch up with my sister. She's 42. I'm whatever 9 years behind that is. So I don't do math. But anyways, I was in my 30s. And so I reunite with this lady and I'm thinking, okay, she left when she was 16. She got to go live with her perfectly biological father. She probably got to have all the experiences and go to high school and college and all these different things. I had to drop out of junior high school in the 7th grade. I'm thinking she's going to be successful and fit and healthy and everything. And I meet her and no offense to her. I mean, I know she's not watching because I had to wish her well, but she looked terrible. You would have thought she was the same exact person, Shawn, at 16 years old as she was 42. She's like, well, mom, how's your mother? It was like all these things. And I was trying to understand her and trying to catch up with her and everything. And one day she looks at me and she goes, baby brother, how did you not turn out like mom? Because my sister turned out exactly like her, exactly down to the cats, down to the books, down to the same occupation, down to the victim mindset. It's everybody else's fault. Well, I got fired. It's all this bullshit. And I looked at her straight in the face, Shawn, and I said, because I chose not to. It's like, because I chose not to. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about that victim mindset, the victim versus victor mindset, and what we could do to shift people out of that mindset to think that it's everybody else's fault but theirs.
Well, we grew up in a really cool time where at first, if you think about it, when you grew up, you're not allowed to share emotions. You have to be strong, right? You have to be fighter. It doesn't matter. Hold it in, suck in those feelings, deal with it. But now we're at a completely opposite time. The pendulum has swung, right? And the pendulum swung where if someone's hurting or upset or offended, everybody needs to rush to them and cater to that feeling because that's important, and which it is. And so what we need to live is what the pendulum method is. Eventually, it goes right in the middle, and where the middle lies is us going like this. Look, here's the thing: if someone's chewing me out and calling me names, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. They are the ones who have the problem. If someone's upset with me for any reason whatsoever and demands that I make them feel better, I cannot do that. I just cannot do that. I can't make anybody feel anything. And once we realize that we are in charge of our own emotions and truly take charge of them, that is when we find real healing. That's when we find real growth. But it is so hard for people to want to go like, I am the issue with my own emotions. I have a great friend. I love this guy. He's a veteran as well and just a leader. Strong as can be, the hardest guy you've ever known, super successful. But he always is going, but, and wants to do that. And when I tell him to do this, and every time he does, he goes, you know what? You're right. I get it. And I'm stronger because of it. And I'm so proud of him because of that. Every time he does that, and it takes practice. And it takes practice, but he's starting to now see these things for himself and coming out of these things. And instead of blaming others, instead of wishing that it was wrong, he goes, I need to figure this out. And that's where, real growth happens. I'm just super excited for anybody who gets to that journey, because when you see that journey is a whole nother journey. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And we're still, as a society, learning how to deal with that. Mm-hmm. But I still see a lot of people moving towards that now, and it's really exciting for me.
Yeah, I think the younger generation is more open to that vulnerability and to that. Again, I mean, I've had shows on here where we talked about the toxic masculinity and the things that we as boys are growing up with. You can't cry, you got to be a man. All these different things that were drilled into us to not be in touch with our emotions. Any kid, really, when you think about it, stop crying. Okay. What? Crying is a fucking good thing, right? I cry all the time. I cry at sad commercials. I don't give a shit. My wife looks over at me. She goes, are you crying again? I'm like, yeah, shut up. You don't have no heart. It's a fucking dog commercial, man. They played Sharon McLachlan in the arms of, and I'm like, I want the puppies. I want the kitties. But yeah, I mean, to your point, the thing of it is people sit there and tell me all the time, I've been coaching for over 20 years. And so people tell me inevitably, but Chris, it's going to be so hard. And I'm like, yeah, how was the journey so far? Was it pretty easy? No, it was hard. I'm like, Guess what? Did you survive 100% of the things that you went through? Yes or no? Yes. Did you learn from your mistakes? Yes. Go make more of them. What? Go make more mistakes. You didn't make any mistakes. Yours were learning opportunities, and you survived 100% of the stuff that you've been through. And what if this? And I've been getting a lot of people with this. What if everything that you've been through and everything that you're going through right now is preparing you for what's next? But yet you're so fucking fixated on the bullshit in the past. It's their fault. Or those guys should come save me. The people, ladies and gentlemen, are the ones that are standing up going, oh, here's the mirror. There's the person. I get to make my own decisions and change the way I look at things. Guys, everything is happening for you. But if you have that perspective of being a victim, it won't happen for you, because you're going to continue to have to learn that lesson to get over that. Talk to us about some lessons you've had to learn, Shawn. What are some lessons in your life, aside from the what you talked about from coming back from active duty, which I can totally understand? Talk to us about some lessons that you've learned. Actually, I'll tell you what, tell us about, unless that was talk to us about one of your low points in your life and what the greatest lesson was. And then I have another follow-up question after that.
Yeah. I got laid off from a job that I just loved. Right after I got laid off, I broke up with this girl that I just thought I loved. Right. And I broke up with her because she was abusive. And then
physically or verbally?
Physically and verbally, both.
Ooh.
So
we got to talk about that too.
I would accepted it because I wasn't proud of myself. And then this is at the dawn of COVID. So then I got COVID, and 75% of my lungs were taken over by the virus and by pneumonia, and I almost died. I had 12% chance of life left. And I remember laying there in the hospital, and I've got these guys. I felt like I was watching E.T., like the movie, remember back in the day where they had the whole suit on, the whole suit with the respirators in the back of it, and they look like spacemen. I got 6 doctors surrounding me. I didn't know who they were at the time, but I had such a rare version of COVID that they flew in people from different points of the world to visit me.
Wow.
And I'm feeling great when I wake up, by the way. And why? Because I'm on drugs. So they gave me all the drugs in the world, and I was excited. I didn't know that, but I was like, I feel great. And they asked me about my last rites and who I had, and I realized, oh my gosh, my son's going to have to decide if I live or die, maybe, or, it was incredible to go through that. And I had to make a decision then. In my mind, I felt like I made the decision, I'm living. I have to do this. I cannot put my family through this. I am here for another reason. And I did. I lived and got through it and got better slowly. It was like, literally, I tell you what, getting out of bed, walking 5.5 feet, I measured it, to the bathroom, my heart rate would go from, in the 100 or so, but to 170 beats per minute, right? That's how crazy.
That's high intensity.
Just 5.5 feet. So I felt like I was running a marathon just going to the bathroom. So I worked through that. And then come Christmas time, it was just, I felt lonely. I felt like I had nothing left. And whatever reason, I looked at my kids and I said, I have to be better than this for them and for myself. So I realized I can't be better for them if I'm not better for me first. So I snapped out of it. I started working on myself, and I wrote a letter to myself, and I wrote a letter to my future love of my life. And I said, this is who you are. This is what I want. And this is how I'm going after it and how I'm coming after you. And I deserve you. That's what I kept saying. I deserve you because this is who I am.
Yeah.
And I put it in a box, in a Christmas box. And I said, whenever I tell someone I love them, I'm going to give them that letter. Next woman I tell I love, I'm going to give her.
Oh, look at you all gushy.
It's truth. It's what I wanted. And I did it
He's a romantic, guys, girls.
I did it all while I was on live on TikTok, of all things, right?
Oh, really?
And so I just was sharing this with my audience. I was engaged with I was committed to this process. And my audience is asking specifics. This is where it gets fun for me. My audience says, Shawn, tell me about the woman of your dreams. And I say, well, and they want me to be specific. They're like, no bullshitting, none of this generalities. Okay, what kind of hair color? I said, all right, I prefer blondes. All right, done, right? Sorry, brunettes out there. Right? And they said, okay, what about, I go, they have to have an accent. I'm really into the English accent. So, okay, I want an accent. Okay, done, right? Check. And it was just everything. How tall is she? I go 5'6", 5'7", but that she could be taller. I guess that's fine. And so check, done. And so I had all these different, she has to be independent. All the way down to the attitude. and I just said it out loud over and over again what I wanted. And I kid you not, December 31st or 30th, going into the 31st, I met Dawn, and she and I are now together, and she fit the bill perfect. So much to the point I thought I was being catfished.
Right? that happens.
But I think the lesson here is, once I made the decision to do it, and once I believed in that decision, and I believed in myself to have that, and I knew there was nothing stopping me but me, I got it. It doesn't just happen that quick all the time, but it does happen. And there is that form of manifestation. There is that piece. And that's why our company is called AIA Motivation, the Law of Attraction, Intention, Assumption, because that's how we met. She had a very similar story. And, it's incredible. It was just, it reminds me the lesson that I had to learn at the low point of my life is the decision was only mine and mine alone. I could have died. I could have chose to die. I really believe that. I could have chose to be depressed and keep drinking on Christmas instead of just get up and just start fixing my life. I could have chose to blame the world for my problems, but I decided to do the opposite. I decided to look at myself and not be a victim for myself, but be a strength. And that's what turned me around.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sue says here, she is amazing. I've had a chance to see some of the videos and see your website and check that stuff out. So yes, I've seen you guys doing your videos. I've seen her more part of your videos. So as a side question, because you are a good looking dude and I see your videos and I see that your audience is very much the female persuasion. How does that get along with your new special partner? Because I know for me, I've had that same situation. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen out there. I do know I'm actually kind of cute. But seriously, I've had that, he's the bad boy. He's the cute guy. I've been with my wife for 21 years now. We've been married for 16. And she understands that. She knows I'm flirty. She knows that girls are going to do stuff like that. How has that impacted your relationship? Or is that one of the things that you actually love about her, because she knows that you're with her, but you're out here doing this thing and you're just flashing your smile? I mean, essentially, we can't help what other people react to us with.
When she met me, I had 70,000 followers on TikTok, and now we're at 462 or something like that. Now we're right up there at 462,000. And so when she met me, she knew this already about me, that I was just, that was there. She's so secure in herself, and she is, she realizes, and she should be, she's gorgeous. She's perfect in every way. But she's so secure in herself, but she's also secure in the fact that, I am who I am. I'm very honest to a core. And that's one of my personal foundations. So what I teach others when people come to me and ask to go one-on-one coaching, I teach them foundational management and how to build that for themselves. I help them clear out the rubble that they built. Because a lot of people, in my opinion, build a $20 million mansion on a $5 million foundation, right?
Mm-hmm. Amen.
A beautiful mansion is going to crumble, though. They're so focused on the mansion, they forget the foundation is the most important piece. And so I've laid out pillars for myself, and one of them is honesty, integrity, loyalty, is all those pieces are in there. And she knows that, and that's deep to my core. And I couldn't lie to her if I saved my life. I mean, I'm the worst liar ever anyway, so it works out.
Nice.
But that's her security. Plus, she has complete vision to it because I have nothing to hide. So she sees, and I kid you not, Chris, I get the shots, the naked pictures sent to me by women and men. So I get
you were talking about that earlier.
I get more dick pics in my inbox than she does. Okay, I get more dick pics in a week than she does in a year. And she's the woman, and she's good looking. So I just
no, thank you. I've never had one of those, thank God. So I guess I'm not that cute.
I'll just start forwarding them.
No. That's quite okay. I don't like looking at my own dick.
But I think, it works out great because we have that open communication. We're very honest with each other. Nothing to hide at all. We do not like we're having to look at each other's phones or anything. We just go, look, check this out, and that's just, we're just very, very much a part of that, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I love that. That's the same way with me and my wife. We have a great relationship, a great friendship, but also a great marriage, and understanding those kinds of things one of the things I learned from my previous marriage when I was married, when I was 18, I was married for 5 years, is one of the things is when people get married, they usually lose their identity. So it's like for me, when I was getting divorced, it was Chris and Tammy. We got divorced. I'm like, who am I now? Because I totally gave up my identity to make her happy from her insecurity. And so I had to spend a year trying to get to know myself. And I told myself, I said, the next time I get in a relationship, I'm just going to be me. And if you dig it, great. If not, no worries. And God's honest truth, I had quite a few number of girlfriends. I've had quite a few long relationships too, as well. But it wasn't until I met Barb and I'm like, wow, she's independent. She doesn't care what I go do. I don't have to go shopping with her every 2 seconds. I've heard some of my guy friends tell me horror stories about their women and how they control them and everything. I'm like, no big deal. My wife can go to Vegas with the girls and go to Thunder Down Under and watch Magic Mike and croon over them and all that stuff. But I know at the end of the day, she's going to call me at the end of the night and it's all going to be fine. And I know she's a beautiful girl. And so it's no big deal. It's like, so that confidence building, that ability to have that sense of confidence and that sense of assurance. Talk to us about that journey for you. Were you always confident and assured, or is that something that you developed as you continued to go through these mishaps in your life?
Horribly the opposite. For the longest time, and I had to become that. And I realized, like, let's just break it out. I'm not a big fan of talking about worst case scenarios, but let's just break it out for people to understand it. What if she does? Okay, say she does go and cheat. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
No offense. I got 462,000 women I'm single. I'm good to go, right? But that's not what I'm looking for. But the piece is, I'm going to be fine because I choose to be fine. I'm controlling my own destiny here. And if that happens, that happens. How do I know that? I had two women, two wives that I've dealt with this on, right? And I've had them, do the opposite, I guess. And so I've come out better, and now I'm with an even better person because of that. Like, she's incredible. And so I'm really grateful that they did that because, oh my God, I never would have met this girl, right? So For me, if anything happens, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. And that's how I look at it.
Amen, brother. Amen. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And that's something important for you guys out there in viewer land, listener land, to really consider and think about yourself. If you're having trust issues with yourself or having trust issues with your partner, that's something you want to communicate and talk about and be open and honest about that, because that resentment, we talk about our emotions, right? And Shawn, we either express our emotions, we repress our emotions, or we suppress our emotions. Right. And if you repress and suppress instead of express, eventually one day they're going to come out like fireworks. And I've heard people talk, well, I'm a Cancer and I'm a this and I'm an Italian, I'm a hothead. No, you're somebody who has not expressed your emotions and your anger and not has reconciled some of those nasty situations in your past. So now you're guarded and everything else. I want to shift gears for a second because you mentioned this before, kids. I'm a dad. I've got a 6-year-old son. We adopted him from birth. It's been amazing. Became a dad late in life at 48. I'm now 54. Talk to us about that. What did being a parent really teach you about being a man?
I have a daughter and I have 3 boys, so four kids, and I feel like I screwed it all up with my daughter. Not gonna lie, it's just she happened to be the oldest, so she got the brunt of my anger, control, not sharing who I was or what I was doing. And then what I realized is I gotta help them find. As a father, I have to help my kids find their passion by doing different things with them, having them experience different things. But once they find their passion, I need to get the hell out of their way and just support them, despite how much I may or may not like their passion. Right. And when as a father, when I learned that was the trick. It just changed my perspective. I've got a son now who's going to be 22 soon, and he's in HVAC, and he loves building in the trades, and he's really, really good at it, and I'm so proud of him. But I pegged him for a businessman, when he was younger, because of his ability to talk, his ability to learn. He had that business savviness. When I would come home and he would ask me about my day, he would ask me about how much profit did I make in the day? How did I do it? And so I really pegged him for that. So seeing him go to the trades and just love it was weird at first. And I realized, okay, I got to let him do it. I just have to get out of the way and let him do it. And he is so happy. And for me as a man, you can control if you want, but then they're just going to resent you. So that's what my daughter did, and we ended up in not a very good spot because of it. So once you remove that control, I had to learn the hard way, but I learned it. Me and my sons, for example, have an amazing relationship, and my daughter and I aren't horrible, but because of that, though, I feel like I was able to relinquish a little bit and realize that everybody's in control of themselves. I cannot control them. I cannot control any of you watching me. I'm not going to try.
Mind voodoo.
Yeah, but what I remind people every day is just how special they are and how rare they are. And the one of my favorite sayings is, no one has gone through and seen the life you've seen through the eyes you've seen them through. No one.
True.
And that makes you so super rare. One of 7.5 billion people now in this world, something of that nature. And that makes you more rare than a snowflake, because snowflakes are supposed to be just, one in every, I can't remember how many billion, but that makes you more rare than a snowflake. And that's, it means you're uniquely you, and you have something to give, and there's a reason you're around. And I'm just grateful to be a part of everyone in this world, despite who they are. So I walk by any person, I say hello, I smile, and I'm grateful for them for who they are.
I do the same thing. When we talked on the phone, we've had a lot of similarities, and we've had some text messages back and forth. I say hi to everybody, and I look like a mean motherfucker. I mean, I got tattoos and everything. I'm walking a fucking 120-pound Doberman. I'm the nicest guy in the world. I'm tough, but I'm also got the biggest heart in the world. So, I mean, I can understand how sometimes there's the misguidedness. There's a couple of different ways that I can go on that based on what you just shared. I want to talk about empathy and forgiveness, since you brought up your daughter and brought up the fact that you were so resentful and angry with your biological father when he left at 3. Talk to us about your experience in processing emotions and processing empathy and forgiveness. Because before you do, I'll share this with you. When you were talking about that, the uniqueness of what somebody has experienced, that right there, my friend, is what helped me find empathy and forgiveness for my mother. Because when I sat back and looked at it, in addition to what I said in the prologue of the intro of the show, talking about that epiphany that I had, that I wasn't wanted years and years and years ago, I thought to myself, as I'm always my own best coaching client, I'm thinking, how can I find empathy and forgiveness for this person who has put me through sheer fucking hell? Literal, right? Sure. I mean, beat the shit out of me, all sorts of different things. We were homeless. I lived in a car with 18 cats and 4 dogs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all these different things. And I thought about it. My mom used to always say, I'm 4 years old. I'm 4 years old. And I'm like, Mom, you're a grown ass woman. Why don't you start acting like it? You're not 4 years old. And she would say this periodically, and she would get like this childlike nature. She had all these cats. She had a bunch of stuffed animals. And I sat back, and I was probably in my 40s by then. And I just sat back and I'm like, how can I find empathy and forgiveness for this woman? And I thought about it. 4 years old. I'm like, what happened when she was 4? I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, her parents got divorced when she was 4. Oh, her biological father went to go have a life of his own with a new lady, and she was left with her biological mother, who was a witch. My grandmother was not a nice person. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, and then my mother was smart, book smart. I mean, super brilliant. She went to University of Santa Barbara at 16 years old. I didn't believe her because she used to tell lies. But after she passed away, I looked through her personal belongings, and I found a paper she wrote about Shakespeare that was 5 pages long. And she wrote it when she was 15 years old. And the teacher writes, excellent example, Linda, da, 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 da. And I was like, holy shit, she wasn't lying about that. It was crazy. But my point is that I sat there and I thought, if I had been through all the experiences that my mom had been through, the divorce, hanging out with my grandmother, promiscuity, drugs, the late 60s, the problems that women were having in the early 70s, working in a man's world. I mean, she was a purchasing agent. She was in a manufacturing environment. So it was a man's world. If I had been through all the different things, all the breakups, all the heartaches, might I be just like her? That question, might I be just like her? Dude, Shawn, I swear to God, I was like, yeah, I probably would. I wanted to fight him because I'm like, no, I know right from wrong, and everybody knows right from wrong. And you try to put that shit in there. I'm like, no, if I went through all those experiences that she did when she did, might I be like her? Yes. And I had this sudden release in my body. Talk to us about that from your experience, that empathy and forgiveness, because so many people out there are hanging on to that like it's like the end all be all for their life. Like, if I let go of this, then I won't be the same person that I am now. Talk to us about that.
With my father, it was, again, I wanted to destroy him. There's no better way to put it. And I think people want someone to blame for who they are.
Yep.
And it's easy to blame your parents because they're literally who raised you, and they're the ones who are in charge of your foundation, so per se, right? And so everybody wants to blame their parents, and everybody puts so much weight on their parents. And I'm watching this show, and forgive me, it's an older show, but it's called Lucifer on Netflix. And he's blaming his dad, the devil here is blaming God for all of his things. But he realized later on he did it to himself. And I love that because it really reminded me that I had my full choice, even as a kid, to do what I needed to do and what to believe in. And so I'm a big believer that anybody here, when it comes to forgiveness, it's really just being okay with yourself first. You have to forgive yourself. So I'm asking you, If this resonates with you, forgive yourself. It's okay. Go in the back room. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel like you need to let it out. Forgive yourself, because when you do, there's healing that can be involved. And, I'm proud of everybody who does that, because that's the most important piece that you can do. Once you forgive yourself, you can start a journey, and that journey may or may not be tough. It depends on you, but that journey is a journey that's necessary.
Yes. I completely agree with that. And I had the similar situation. I've had things that I've done in my past that I wasn't particularly proud of. And then in my 30s, when I was drinking a lot and partying a lot, to try to run away from that, I had a great time. But at the same time, there was this day that I finally had to wake up and kind of like accept responsibility. My friends kind of had an intervention with me, and they're like, man, Chris, you're a fun guy. You're a party guy. You work hard. We're just worried about the drinking, and da-da-da-da. And so it just kind of caused me to sit there and take a step back. Like, what am I running from? Why do I drink all the time? Because for me, I'm like so energetic and so spun. I call it being spun, that alcohol, if like 3 or 4 drinks, I'm like normal. I feel like a normal person. I feel like I can process my thoughts and not be all like I don't normally am when you guys see me here. And I sat there and I thought, okay, why don't I just take a break? And I started taking a break, and I started taking from January of the beginning of the year to my birthday, which is February 26th. So it was 2 months without alcohol. For me, that was huge. That was massive. I mean, everywhere I went, there was parties, it was bowling, it was dancing, it was everything, sports games, rock concerts, everything had alcohol in it, billiards, video, everything, parties, everything had alcohol. And I'm like, ooh, can I go 2 months without it? And as I started doing that, I just made it a personal mission for myself, because I was not being necessarily congruent with my coaching clients. And I said, let me go on this journey of self-discovery and find out what it is that I'm running away from. And part of that was that shame and that guilt that I had in myself, thinking that I caused some things or thinking that I was responsible for things, when the grand actuality of it, no, it wasn't. It was just the way that I was pinpointing it on myself, being that victim mindset. So through that clarity, I was able to get stronger and have empathy and forgiveness for myself, and actually see everything in such a different light that it empowered me. And that's what even made me take my coaching and my speaking and everything else to the next level. It's like, wow, if I can continue to have these epiphanies by asking myself these questions, then everybody else can do this too. And my whole mission is to make this world a better place. I don't care if you're black, white, straight, gay, short, tall, transgender, whatever label you want to put on it. I love everybody, and I want to make sure this world is inclusive and everybody has an opportunity and a fair shot. So talk to us about what, when I think about what we're talking about tonight, Shawn, and I know we could talk about for hours and hours and hours. We're talking about doing our best. Right. And when you think about it, I had a situation where I came home from work probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And I was putting my keys up on my dresser and, doing the normal nighttime stuff when you get ready for bed. And I thought to myself, oh, I did the best I could today. Right. And I sat there and I talk out loud to myself. And when I talk out loud, the outside voice is smarter than the inside voice. I don't know why. I just realized this about 2 months ago, but I've just always been doing it. And I'm like, Chris, was really that your best? And I really listened to that, because I feel like that's the true nature of who I am when I speak out loud. Like, that's the guy that's calling me on my own bullshit. Like, Chris, was that your best? And I sat there and thought about it. I'm like, and I think about, okay, in terms of my best, one of the things that I'll use, like even when I was washing my cars last week, I went to go skimp on my wheels on my truck. I mean, I did a decent job, but I'm like, if a film crew was watching me right now saying, hey, this is the No Excuses coach, and he's washing his truck, look at the detail, I would wash that rim and make it all sparkly. And it only takes a little bit of effort to do our best. And I started realizing, I'm like, Chris, that wasn't my best. Have I been giving my best? Has there been blood, sweat, and tears? Talk to me about how that you're doing your best, Shawn, and then what you do to inspire your clients to do their best. Because so many people are sitting there saying, I've done my best, but their best, I don't think their best is yet to come.
Yeah, I love what you said, if there's a film crew, because Don always says, live your life like it's a movie you want to watch.
Yeah.
And I think
that's a good one. I like that one.
I think
thank you for that one.
If I sat back and I watched myself today, would I enjoy the show? And that doesn't mean you have to be dramatic or anything, but did I feel like I did the right thing? So there's self accountability behind that, and that's what you're bringing up, and I love that. To do your best really is to just make the decision in the moment. You can, in the piece that it's good to self-reflect and remember and look back and see what you did, but I think what's even better is to stop and say, like Darlene just said, speak it out loud. And like you said it a little bit ago, speak it out loud. Tell yourself what you want to see. Go to the freaking mirror and tell yourself what you're going to do. Go and just make that decision to do it. And even when you slip, it's okay. Stop. I got this. I'm back at it. Let's go. And there's a mindset to it. And I go back to, so many places in my life where here I am shot. I am getting shot at. I got bullets raining down around me. I've got bombs going off everywhere. You can't understand a thing that's happening. And there's a couple things I could have done. I could have just decided to hunker down, hold on, and make a choice and hope we get through it. I can fight back a little bit, or I can just say, you know what, I'm going to give everything I got to this moment. I'm going to get my ass up. I'm going to march across this field, and I'm going to kick that door in, and I'm going to take out these guys who are trying to take us all out. And I did. I just did.
Whoa.
Marched right across. Well, not march, but it was a little bit more tactical than that. But get through this field, get into the building where these guys are at the top, and we did we had to do it. Kicked the door in and took them out. And if I didn't do that, how much longer would it have taken? And I'm sitting there, and again, same thing. We're pinned down in an alleyway and being shot at, and a grenade hits me in my thigh, and I look down, and I'm done. I'm just like, I have honestly, the 2 seconds, the most peaceful 2 seconds of my life are those 2 seconds.
Really?
When I look down and I see a grenade, I'm just like,
that's it.
I accepted that this was it. And I was peaceful. I was like, okay, I had a good life. And literally, I remember thinking that for just that quick 2 seconds. And I realized it's a dud. It didn't go off. Oh my gosh. I got, kicked the thing out of the way. And I realized I have to go through what's happening right now, because if I don't go through that, the next grenade will be live, and it won't be just me who's in trouble there. It's the red people around me. So I just decided to go through it, and because I did it, it saved my life, and who knows how many lives it would have saved in the process. But mentally, I think we go through that every day in one way or another. It doesn't have to be grenades and bombs and real, it's not that, but it is decisions that we make, and it is these the negativity that's coming at us. That's being shot at us, blown up at us, and your boss is pissed off, or your spouse says something you're not happy with, or they don't get something done that they promised, or they let you down, or someone lets you down inevitably. You can choose to go through it and just be better for it, or you can dwell on it and essentially perish. And so that's your choice that I think we have to make every day. But speaking it out loud, being able to comment to yourself and to be able to hold yourself accountable, it's critical.
Dude, I love this conversation. Darlene says, great quote. Absolutely. Natalie says here, she goes, this is definitely more of us than we know. Absolutely. 100%. And I just want to actually just comment. My buddy Dennis Nermella from China is here. I'm sober for over 35 years. Congratulations, dude. That's fucking awesome. Congratulations. I'm doing 75 hard right now. So I'm doing 75 days of no alcohol. I just did 2 months at the beginning of the year, no alcohol. Cause I still do that. Actually, I still take the beginning of the year all the way to my birthday from February 26th. I don't drink. It's kind of like my reset. And then as the years have gone on throughout the year, I do periodic sabbaticals from alcohol as well, just to make sure, because I never want to abuse that part, because I'm a party guy. I like to drink. I like to have fun. I like to be a smart ass. I like to entertain people. So sometimes I have to be careful. We used to call it stripper Chris, but I can't strip anymore because my back is so fucked up. I actually tried the other day. Some music came on. I was in my kitchen. My back's up. I've had back surgery and it's really messed up. I need more surgery. And so I was like, ooh, and I started doing my hip gyration. I was like, oh, fuck. And my wife and my mother-in-law is with us going through cancer treatment, and they just start laughing like, you're old. And like, my wife goes, I guess stripper Chris is dead. And I'm like, no, he's not. He will come back. If there was Jack Daniels here, he would come back. He would find a way to strip.
Reinvent stripper Chris. It'll be different.
Oh, dude, I got so many stories about stripper Chris. I've had a lot of fun. But before we run out of time here, there's 2 more questions that I have for you, brother. One of those is, since I am the no excuses coach, I always like to ask my guests, what is your main excuse or excuses, and what do you use in order to overcome your excuses?
I always look at my excuses are tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow.
Yep.
And I do this. I still do this. I have to catch myself constantly. You know what? I'm good right now. I'm just going to eat this pie or whatever it is right now, and I'll start my diet tomorrow, or I'll be okay. And then the can keeps getting kicked. And so I think that's something that I think we all probably deal with, but that's probably one of my main issues that I have to continually work on and remind myself, okay, you're in charge of you're in charge of this right now. You have to make a decision, make the right one. And, sometimes it's okay to make the wrong one because it's a learning lesson, but you try not to.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. When you talk about decisions, some people sit there and say they don't know what to do, and I'm like, the best thing you can do is make the right decision. The next best thing is make the wrong decision, and the worst thing is to make no decision.
Yeah.
So I love what you're talking about there. Okay, so we're coming up on we're still under an hour. I promise you, I'll keep you in under an hour. One of my big passions right now is, and I don't follow the news or politics much, but I know there's a lot of turmoil going on in the country right now. If you had a microphone to the world right now, given what's going on in various parts of the world, depending on what you watch and what you follow and everything, what are some things you would say to the people watching? If the entire world was watching right now, no pressure. What are some words that you would have to help heal some of the conflict and the arguments and the finger pointing and the blaming and the rhetoric that's going on? What would you say to them?
I removed myself from the news. I was an avid news watcher every single day, all throughout the day. And when I met Dawn, she was like, I don't watch the news. We're not watching the news. We're not doing that. I'm like hell, we're not, right? My life, I don't know what's going on in the world. And she just said, try it. And so a month goes by and kind of like you just described, in a weird way, alcohol, not quite the same, but you get the idea. When you remove the negativity, your life is the same. It's like weird. My life has not changed in the year that I barely watched the news, if at all. And it hasn't really changed at all. And I'm sitting here going, my gosh, there's stuff going on, but how much has it really impacted me? And the answer is the only thing that's really impacted me are my decisions that I made over what someone else made. So whatever Biden or I can't remember all them leaders' name or, Gorbachev, back in the day.
Wow, back in the 80s.
Whatever these guys have done, it doesn't affect me at all in how I decide to move forward. It's going to be there regardless, and I'm going to be dealing with it. So my decisions are what's important. And when I realize that, and when people, if I can say anything to anybody, it's like you're in charge of who you are and your decision, and no one can make you feel anything you do not allow them to make you feel.
Yes.
Period. End of story.
Dude, I love that. What you just cited right there. Have you ever read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning?
No, I'm going to have to read it now, though.
That is one of my must books that I have my coaching clients read. It's an amazing book. He was a concentration camp survivor. He was in Auschwitz, and he wrote this book, and it details his experience going through the Auschwitz, the horrific experiences and everything else. The crux of the book, Shawn, is the fact that you can tell me to do these things, you can make me do things, but the one thing nobody can ever do is tell me how to feel. So even in those dark, dire times, he chose to live in his mind that he was going to get out of there. He chose to live in his mind that he was going to be reunited with his family. He chose to sit there and say, you could do whatever you want to me, but I'm going to choose not to be. He saw people killing themselves. They had little crumbs of bread, and it's a horrific book. But overall, you sit there and he talks about that. That ability to be able to withstand all that negativity, be able to be true to ourselves. So I love what you said about that. So where can people, this has been an amazing conversation. I definitely know we're going to be doing more stuff together. I hope you guys out there in viewer land and listener land enjoyed that. Let us know what you thought of the conversation, but where can people get a hold of you to continue the conversation with you, Mr. Dodd?
I'm on all social media platforms. There's Iron Ranger 023. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, got all that. But we also have a company website. It's aiamotivation.com. You can reach out to me there. There's contact forms there. You can book sessions if you would like to, whatever you need. And I book sessions where people just want to talk to me and get to know me and just be, have an ear. And I've had sessions where I've, taught and engaged. So there's a lot of different things that I can do with people. And I'm really excited. Anybody who comes into my life, I'm so appreciative of.
Awesome. And for those guys listening, again, it's www.aiamotivation.com. All spelled exactly how you would imagine. And then again, Iron Ranger, IRONRANGER 023. For those of you guys listening on the podcast, we like to give that back a few times because sometimes they said it too fast. Then you have to rewind it. Mr. Shawn Dodd, thank you, brother, so much for being here on the Raw&Unscripted show. I knew this conversation was going to fly by. I could talk to you for hours. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm going to sit you backstage for a second.
One quick thing before I go. I am so fucking proud of you, bro. Thank you for all that you're doing for this world. And you inspire so many people. And I am just so grateful for people like you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. That makes me get all welly. Don't do that. Don't make me cry. All right, brother. I'm going to push you backstage. Don't go anywhere because I still want to talk to you. I'm just going to close out the show.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Peace. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I told you it was going to be a great show. Didn't I tell you it was going to be a great show? I want to capture some of these comments here. Sue Andrew, thank you so much for being here. She says, this was a great live. I will be following you, Chris. You're amazing. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's all from the heart. This is all just who I am. I used to be a suit and tie speaker. I used to say all the things everybody else wanted me to say and be all the things everybody else wanted me to be. I was a people pleaser. I was always trying to find that validation, because when you think about what I said at the top of the show, and if you're new to the show, go back and listen to the top of it, because I revealed an epiphany that I recently had about my mother and realizing that I wasn't wanted. And that was actually a good thing. So when we sit there and we have this opportunity for us to heal and to grow within ourselves, it's pretty incredible what can come up. And I just have decided that this life we only get one life, right? Agree? We get one life. And there is no guarantee that there's going to be another 10 minutes, another 10 days, another 10 weeks in any one of our lives. There's a lot of rhetoric that's being thrown around in the news. I've kind of popped my head up out of the sand a little bit and watched some TikTok videos and seen what's going on in Tennessee and Kentucky, and hearing some of the rhetoric that's going on in Texas and Idaho and Wisconsin and all these different places. And it breaks my heart, because at the end of the day, we're humanity, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually on the board of Humanity. I'm on the board of Help Heal Humanity. If you guys are interested in checking that out, here's a little plug. I usually do a plug in the beginning of the show, but helphealhumanity.org. It's actually an organization I've been on the board with for now 2 years. Serena Buffalino, the CEO and the founder of the board. She's an incredible, incredible spirit. She's selfless. She's loving. She's giving, she's tireless. She does her best to go out there and make a difference. We built schools in the toughest parts of Haiti. We've fed the homeless and taken care of training sessions in Hamilton, Ontario. We've done a bunch of stuff, and we're just scratching the surface. But together we're humanity. And I'll tell you this before we end out the show. Whenever I'm on stage, whenever I have an opportunity now, especially from stage, I'll look out, and I remember the last time I did this, it was about 800 to 1,000 people out there. And I just took the opportunity. I did my motivation stuff and talked about, having a no excuses life. But I said, everybody take a look around. There's about 800 people, 800 to 1,000 people. So take a look around. You got black, white, short, straight, gay, Republican, Democrat, people into bondage, people not have ever had sex. You got everybody in this room. I'm sure we've got some racist in the room. And I don't want you guys to call yourself out, but I just want you to take a look around. There's all these beautiful people. And I'm sure if any one of you had an accident right now or needed something, all of you guys would all go there and help one another out. So I just encourage you guys out there really to take a look at your fellow human being, because at the end of the day, this is a temporary vessel for our soul to come here and have this human experience with. Don't judge people by this. Don't judge people by the experiences that they had, because you don't know what it's like. We've said this throughout the show tonight. Shawn and I both said that from our personal experiences. You don't know what you don't know. And to sit there and cast judgments and not understand where other people are coming from, or not knowing your history, that's ignorant. It's the best thing you could do is to get to understand people. Stephen Covey said in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he said, number 1, seek first to understand, then be understood. So the thing I implore to you guys, my Misfits for Life family, right? You guys are my Misfits for Life. This is the way we do things raw and unscripted here. Make it a point throughout this next week. When you think about yourself judging something, ask the question. Tell me more about that. Tell me about why you like Trump so much. Tell me why you're against the vaccinations. What kind of research have you done? Tell me why you think China is in the back pocket, whatever it might be, whatever it is, and have them tell you more. But here's the other kicker. Here's something that will strengthen all of your relationships, because I've had to do this a lot in my life, and thank God I learned quick, was when you listen to somebody, one of the greatest gifts you can get back to them is sit there and say, you know what, Chris, this is what I heard you say, blah, 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 and paraphrase back to them and let them know that you heard them, that you were truly, really listening, that you weren't selectively listening, going, well, here, let me tell you about my shit, which is what most people do. They don't really listen. They have selective hearing disorder, and they sit there and say, I know what he's going to say. I know what he's going to say. Okay, I've got my answer. I'm going to put them in their place. And you don't even fucking listen to the full conversation in anything, the water cooler conversations, the political conversations, anything else. So here's my task for you guys this week. Go out there and truly, really listen to the people that are talking, the people you disagree with. Find somebody you disagree with wholeheartedly and say, you know what? I've been handling this all wrong. I've been thinking that you're one person, I'm another person. Let's have a conversation. Let me buy you coffee. Let me get on a Zoom call with you, because I really want to understand where you're coming from. And then after that conversation, go tell some other people, because right now nobody's listening. It's all this. It's them. And the sad thing is I have conversations with people on the far left, the far right, all over the place. I have lots of conversations all day long, in addition to my coaching. And the thing I'm really trying to seek out is how we're more the same than we are different. and how we can avoid potentially having a civil war here in the United States. That breaks my heart. That scares the shit out of me, because everywhere I go, I meet beautiful people all over the world. I went to Italy last year, and everybody I met from all over the world were beautiful people. And the one question they kept having for me was, what's going on with the United States? You guys used to be so strong. And I know I have viewers in 9 countries, 10 countries, perhaps right now. I know we're in 9 countries, definitely. So thank you guys for being in those 9 countries and watching this and listening to this. But together we need to make a difference, because I have a 6-year-old son. And when I look in his eyes, the only thing I want for him is to have an opportunity to grow up in a safe, clean environment that's going to be here for the rest of their lives, and that we can pass something on to this generation that they could do something better with than we did, right? I always learned early on in life that when you leave a place, you leave it better than it was when you got there. So you kind of just make it a little bit better. I pick up trash. I say hi to everybody all day. My goal is to make sure that the cash register, the subway person, whoever it is, that they see me and go, what the fuck is that? And then by the time I walk out of the shop, they're like, oh my God, you were the nicest person all day, and you're a sweetheart. Da, 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 da. And they go home and tell people about this crazy guy with tattoos and fucking bandana, looking like a gangbanger or whatever, came into my store today and really made me laugh and really listened to me and really cared about, that 3 minutes of exchange that we get to have. So go out there and be a part of the solution, not be a part of the problem, ladies and gentlemen, because we owe it to our kids, right? Our time here, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, our time is going to go by real fast. But those kids deserve to have leaders and people in their community that are showing them that you don't just sit there and say, my way is the right way, and they're wrong, and they're stupid, and they're lame, and they should be eliminated. You sit there and you teach your kids, hey, let's understand. So that's what I want you guys to do as a favor for me watching the show and getting the value out of the show. That's your homework. And then, during the week, as you're having those experiences, hit me up on social media and let me know what comes of that. Because when I do these little periodic assignments, I love hearing back from you guys going, wow, Chris, I thought it was kind of uncomfortable what you were asking me to do, but I started doing it. And it was pretty incredible how the other people lowered their guard, and those other people, and we found out that we had more in common than we didn't. And we wound up walking away actually as friends. And it may not always happen that way, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to our communities and our world to make this a world a better place. I am scared to death of what's going on in the world today. I don't know if it's going to manifest. I don't even hardly watch the news. I just listen to people and I watch what's going on. So together, let's make this world a better place. Okay, please. I show up here every single week to make your life a better place. Do me a solid and make the world a better place. We got Christina Davey in the house. What's up? She was on my show just recently. She says, so great to see you, Christopher Rausch. Great convo. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you coming in from Australia. We got Valerie Smith in the house. Thank you so much for being here. She goes, yes, that's a great skill to listen. Yes, and we learned that in Toastmasters, actually. Natalie says here, she gives me too much credit, but she says, you saved my life, Christopher Rausch. I appreciate that, Natalie, but you saved your own life. I just happened to give you things to think about in a different way. And you're the one that did the work. So thank you for that. But no, you saved your own life. I appreciate you that. Sue says here, beautifully said. She goes, we are all here to help each other. Yes. Valerie's down here saying, yes, amen. And my friend Robert Brooker in the house. I haven't even talked about your name today, but Robert's in the house. He says, ain't it great when it does, right? So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, go out there, be brilliant, share this show out. If you got value out of it, which I know you did, share it out and put a couple of words on there saying, hey, listen, I just listened to this conversation with these 2 tough guys talking about vulnerability and empathy and forgiveness and failures and everything else. Share this out so together we can make this world a better place, and I can reach more people and with my message to help other people as well. So thank you guys. We'll be back here next week on the Raw and Unscripted show. Who do we have up next week? Because you guys have been asking me, can you tell us who's coming up next week? Next week we're by the way, guys, we are booked into October. It's fucking crazy. I'm actually gonna have to stop taking calls for people to be on the show. I'm gonna have to tone it down. I'm not gonna remember who these people are in 6 months. So yeah, we're actually booking into October. It's crazy. So next week is a solo show. You guys get me all by yourself. You guys had asked me about that before when I pinged you guys. I'm like, what do you want to see more from the show? And you guys said, you always have a guest on. We would just want you to talk. Well, sometimes I talk in circles, so I need people to give me a chance so I can think about my thoughts. But we'll have a solo show. Then the week after that, we got another powerful gentleman. His name's Paul Roscoe White, ex-Navy, ex-military as well. Tough dude. He's doing 75 hard with me as well right now. He and his wife. So while Paul on there, and then after that, we've got 3 shows in a row. 3 shows in a row. Okay, Chris. That's a blooper reel right there. 3 shows in a row, potentially 4 where my personal friend and dear mentor, Patricia Geig, is going to be here co-hosting with me. I've never had a co-host on this particular show. I have a co-host on the Unfiltered Experience on Friday nights. So Patricia is going to co-host with me, and she's actually bringing her friends in as guests. And we've got some amazing, amazing top tier people that she knows. So this is going to be really, really special. So this is going to be starting on May 2nd. On May 2nd, we've got Orange Checkmate Hudson. You can go check him out. He's a brilliant dude. But she's keeping a secret from me who the third guest is going to be. And I have a feeling, I'm praying, I'm manifesting. It's this fucker, Dave Grohl. She said that she's like a few people away from being introduced to Dave Grohl. And I'm like, oh, please, I want to meet Dave Grohl. I want to hang with Dave Grohl. Imagine having Dave Grohl on the Unscripted, the Raw and Unscripted show. Anyways, I love you guys. Go out there and enjoy your moments. Be good to one another. Be with your family. Be present with your family. Be present with yourself. Love yourself. And we'll see you next time on the Raw and Unscripted show. I love you guys. Peace.